But this is still something very nice. Like somebody wants to get into a segment which is very easy to ride. Like I've ridden the Trident, and trust me, it is less intimidating than my old Duke was. Since saying that for a 660, it means a lot. So considering that, I think so. This is more focused on beginners.
So welcome back to my channel. We have Sherman on the line.
And I'm back again and again and again.
So Sherman, since you owned a Triumph 800 since the last 5 years, and you worked with Triumph and you know Triumph products inside out, I would just like to know, what is your view, being a Tiger 800 owner, what is your view on the Triumph Tiger Sport 660? I mean, should it even have a Tiger tagline, or they could have just mentioned Triumph Sport 660?
Well, going from the Triumph lineup, even internationally, they had a model called the Tiger Sport.
Yes.
And that was the 1050, if I'm not mistaken, which was the speed triple engine detuned. So it was between the Tiger 800s and the 1200s. But then that again was a tourer. It is not an 8D. They never put it as an ADV, and neither are they putting this as an ADV.
Yes.
So this is, you can say, a smaller sibling to that. Like everybody saying, oh, it's a smaller sibling to the regular Tigers. It's not. It's the smaller sibling to the Tiger Sport.
The Sport range which never made it in India, but that was road biased as well.
Exactly. And it was fairly loved. Like internationally, that, I think, like with my mom, when she went to Russia and Europe, she saw those Tigers more than she saw the off-roading ones. Which makes sense, because not that many people will do that, right? They just want something with a comfortable suspension and to ride with these, basically.
I understand. And also Tiger had made it very clear during the launch of the Trident that the semi-off-road, road-biased off-road variant as well as the proper off-road variant will be launched. So yeah. I'm assuming this will be like a perfect fit between the Trident and the absolute off-road variant of the 660.
Let's see. I mean, I still doubt. I mean, I don't see that in the very near future, the off-road variant. But this is still something very nice. Like somebody wants to get into a segment which is very easy to ride. Like I've ridden the Trident, and trust me, it is less intimidating than my old Duke was. Since saying that for a 660, it means a lot. So considering that, I think so. This is more focused on beginners who want to have their first big bike without them scaring the shit out of them and letting NOS out of their butts. So yeah, for me, it makes sense. Yes, the pricing is a little controversial, I would say.
Absolutely.
But otherwise, I mean, I've not ridden it. Like, I don't want to say anything about the bike unless I've ridden it. But specs wise, I feel that it's pretty nice. I've ridden Triumphs. I mean, I still own one. And what I like is the service, 10,000 or 1 year service kilometers, which is in this case, I think, so 16,000 or once a year.
16,000, yes.
Which is a lot, and it says a lot. I mean, you get to ride much more if you want to.
Exactly. So people are complaining it's 1.5-2 lakh rupees more than the Versys 650. But the Versys 650 will have to be serviced every 6,000 kilometers if I'm not mistaken. So every 3 Versys 650 service is like 1 service for the Triumph Tiger 660. And knowing Kawasaki how expensive it is, you either shell off a lot of cash initially for a sweet inline 3-cylinder sound, or you shell out less cash for a paddle twin and you kind of spend more in the long run. I think this is a fair enough comparison what I've just mentioned about the Kawasaki.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, the one in India, I think so, is in the phase of phasing out the Versys, end of its lifespan. So I think and obviously being Kawasaki, if they launch something, it's going to be on a much higher price. So I think because the V-Strom is anyway 10 lakhs plus. So the Versys was the only one which is in the low price. But then that is again at the end of the cycle, and they are also giving a lot of discounts. Like recently a friend of mine picked it up and I don't want to disclose. He got it at a steal deal. I was like in shock. I was like, damn, like, I hope you blindly picked it up. He's like, yeah, I blindly picked it up.
The Versys.
So, yes. So he just taken delivery 10 days back. So he got a steal deal. In that case, I would say yes. Versys makes more sense because that's a huge margin compared to the Versys. Also compared to the Trident, the Tiger 660 Sport. But then again, if you see if the Versys are on its normal price without any discount and the price difference, I think so. The service cost you would probably make it up in 3.5 years if a person keeps a bike for that long.
Exactly. So, I mean, again, credit where it's due. The Versys suspension is much better than the Tridents.
Yeah,
but as
hands down any day.
Yes, hands down any day. But as you had mentioned, if at all you do get involved in an accident or you rough it up and you have to make certain changes or buy a new suspension, if it's not covered by the insurance, the Versys suspension or any parts will be far more expensive than the Tridents, right? Especially the suspension.
Anytime. So Kawasaki, yes, they give really good products, no two doubts about it. But then again, their parts are also really expensive. Being worked in both the brands, there is a significant price difference between the brands, at least in India. I don't know about abroad. Probably they're same. Probably Triumph is more expensive. But at least in India, cost-wise, to maintain two vehicles, I would say it's Triumph, at least 60-70% or 80% of parts, if we compare parts to parts cost, is cheaper.
Exactly. So it's not about owning a vehicle, it's about maintaining it as well.
Exactly.
But again, in this price bracket, you get a proper ADV, which is the V-Storm 650.
I love the V-Storm. I have ridden it even when I was at Kawasaki and the Bombay dealership had both the dealerships like Suzuki and Kawasaki.
Yes.
I should advise people, like back then, there was only 70,000-80,000 rupee price difference between the Versys and the V-Storm. I used to push people to buy the V-Storm because I've ridden the bike and it's phenomenal. I love it. I mean, sometimes I even felt that, if I had not bought the Tiger, I probably bought a V-Storm and saved that much money if the V-Storm was back then. Because economically it made more sense. Yes, the inline 3 and all that, that's a different jazz altogether. But yeah, if you look at the purely money point of it, the V-Storm is a phenomenal bike.
So value for money point of view, but obviously V-Storm is almost as expensive as the Trident 660 Sport.
Yeah.
The Tiger 660 Sport. So I mean,
and that is after the lakh of rupee discount, if I'm not mistaken.
No, not after the lakh of rupee discount.
Okay.
The V-Storm is almost at the same price, depending on whatever the discount you may personally get. Let's say even 20,000-30,000 rupee difference won't make much of a change if the overall cost is 8 lakh rupees. So let's consider it's in the similar ballpark figure. Especially if you're going to take it on EMI, the price difference won't be much. What would you prefer? Would you prefer the V-Storm or would you prefer the Tiger 660 Sport?
If it comes to purely riding pleasure, and if I'm not a person who's probably interested in doing too much of off-road or whatever, then I'd pick up the Tiger 660 because the triple is nice. It sounds nice. It's smooth. It covers that big bike feel, and it's easier to move on the regular road terrain. Well, if I have a little kid on my bum, that once in a while to take it a little off the road, gravel and stuff, I would prefer the V-Storm any day because it's a bit sharper. But I still haven't ridden the Tiger 660, so I don't know how the handling is.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, our assumptions are purely on basis of the reviews that we have seen online. But I thought it would be, again, it will take some time for us to take a test drive. So I thought, well, let's have the first impressions over here. So, again, what I've understood is the suspension is softer and has more travel as compared to the Trident 660. But it is not an off-road variant.
I saw some reviews. They're saying the suspension is stiffer. It's not stiffer, but it's equally stiff. But because it's stiff, it's a bit unsettling. So I still have to get that. All the reviews are saying the same thing.
So no, as compared to the Trident had a really stiff suspension. As compared to the Trident, it is softer. But again, it's basically. It's not the jack of all trades over here because there isn't much travel. You really can't take it off-roading. It's got Michelin Road 5 tires, so it is basic, which is quite nice. But again, when you're obviously only for the road, but when you're using it as a sports bike mode, the suspension travel kind of interferes. So I think, as you mentioned, it's good for a beginner bike. If you're looking at a proper race focused bike, you spend 40,000 rupees more and you buy the Triumph Speed Triple R, which comes, I
Yeah.
think, approximately 40,000 more. Or you get
And is
the
lighter and is very sharp with handling and brakes and everything.
yes, it's absolutely focused for for the road. So I think this is what Triumph is doing, and very rightfully they've mentioned sport. They have, as this particular vertical, the sport vertical, has predominantly been basically EDVs that are meant for the road. So you have the comfort of a EDV to a certain extent, but there's no two ways about it. If you want to go off-roading, this is not the bike.
Yeah, because I also have always said that, if you want to do off-roading, it more than long travel suspension, even the wheels play a part. And 17-inch wheels is not something I would even think of going.
Exactly. And see, the thing is, nor are they trying to pretend that it's an off-road bike by giving
Exactly.
button tires or something, they are basically telling, yes, it's a Tiger, but this Tiger is specifically for the highways. Maybe a little off-roading here and there, but specifically for the highways is what I've got to know from it. But another thing, again, you've driven the Trident. They've taken the similar engine. Didn't you find the engine a little, say, not happy being revved the life out of it?
No, not actually. See, I felt it's a little growly. It's not as smooth as my bike, I would say. But then it felt rev happy. It never felt that it gets tired or anything. Yes, a slight buzz in the higher RPMs. But and the only thing, like the two things I didn't like about the Trident was a slight buzz in the higher RPMs. But it does refine out. It's like somewhere in the mid higher. Then as you go higher and below, it smoothens out. And secondly was a mad wind blast. Like I was almost getting thrown off the bike, kind of wind blast. And I'm considering my body structure, I think so my body felt like a parachute. So, but considering here there's a fairing, there's a windscreen, I think this would be an ideal bike.
Exactly.
I like the bike. It's like I said. I mean, if you're spending that much, like a lot of these guys. Like I remember coming when I was working in different brands, and when people coming saying, "Arey, meko boom boom sound milega kya?" And I said, "No, at this price you will not get it." And now these people are getting it. Even with the Trident, even with the Tiger Sport, you get the boom sound, you get the high revving nature, which you don't get in the Twins.
Yes, so this is one thing you can't take away from Tiger is the 3-cylinder exhaust note. It just sounds amazing. It is more frugal than 800, 850s, 900cc bikes. But I don't understand one thing. If the Trident is priced right, which is around 7.5 lakhs, with not much changes, it's not drastically different. I don't know why did they price it at 8.9 lakhs, almost 9 lakh rupees. I think we could have brought it down drastically low because again, see, they're providing basic hardware also. It's not there is adjustable suspension in the front. They're providing 2-piston Nissan brakes up front, which is basically basic brakes, right? It's not some Brembo brakes that the 850 has.
So we've always known for Triumph being very precise and conscious about the pricing system, and I think like one of the reviewers said yesterday that they have let that little edge skip from them this time. So exactly. I think that has happened, but let's see. I mean, if a product is good, it would sell, and if it's not, let's see. But yes, it is not absurdly priced, but yeah, it is a bit on the higher side for what they're offering. No two doubts about that.
So basically, if you want that boom boom sound that Indian people are crazy behind,
and you want something to sit and ride like a grandfather would sit and ride without any problems, just sit comfortably, then I think this makes sense.
Without the power being too intrusive or something that will kind of
like,
kill you.
Like for example, on a Ninja 650 or even the V-Strom, okay? If I'm riding in daily traffic and if I try riding it in, do not try this at home, but if you're riding in, let's say a hand, you have to, probably have an itch or move something, or move your pant or be a little comfortable. The throttle is very surgy. It's on or off. In any of these bikes, it's very difficult to have throttle control, especially somebody like me, for example. Whereas the triples are so smooth, even by mistake, if you whack it, the bike will be like, I'm going, don't worry. No, don't worry about it.
Okay.
So that is something I'd really appreciate. Like in the Duke, it was very difficult to do that. And same thing with the Ninja 650. Same thing with the Twins.
Yeah.
But like for example, the triples, even the street triple, those are very powerful and it shoot that 0 to 100 and it's very surgy. But in situations like when you're riding and suddenly you whack it, you'll never have that panic moment, and that's the beauty of the triples.
The beauty of Triumph engineering. Another thing I didn't like about this 660 is even though it's a TFT screen, they haven't really used much of color. I mean, it looks like a really good LCD screen to me, at best, or LED. They could have like played around with the colors.
They could have done so much more, but like I said, this is that one time where they let that edge slip from them.
I know, it is disappointing.
A lot of potential, but yeah. I was wasted potential, but
yeah, it is. So, I mean, let's just wait where normal people like us, since we're not power drift or anything, we won't get the media bike.
Yeah, we'll have to go to a showroom, beg for a test ride.
For a showroom, sir.
I may get it a little more easily than you, but
yeah.
At least for Triumph.
At least for Triumph. Okay, so Showman, we'll conclude the first impression of the Tiger 660 on this message. Let's test drive the Tiger.
Let's ride it and see. And till then, enjoy. Keep watching Rustom's videos. They're pretty nice.